A lot of F-150 owners think their transmission shifts rough because it's worn out. Most of the time, it isn't. It's running on stale data. Your truck has been quietly rewriting how it shifts every day since you drove it off the lot, and nobody at the counter is going to explain that to you. They'll look at the mileage, listen to that clunk between first and second, and hand you a rebuild quote. $4,800. And a lot of the time, that transmission doesn't need one new part inside it. Today I'm showing you what I do in my own shop to make an F-150 shift like it did the day it was new. 6 things, and most cost almost nothing. Hey folks, I'm Dale. 25 years wrenching on Fords. Everything from old F-150s and Rangers to the newest EcoBoosts and Power Strokes. I've pulled a lot of transmissions out of these trucks, and I've put a lot back on the road that never needed to come out. That second group is bigger. So hold on to this. Ford transmissions don't die from mileage. They die from heat and stale fluid. Everything on this list is another way of saying that sentence. And number 1 is the one that gets me. It's free, it takes 20 minutes of driving, and Ford built it into your truck and never told you. Stick around for that one. Let's get into it. Number 6, the one-letter mistake. This is the fastest way to ruin a good Ford transmission, and the guy doing it thinks he's taking care of his truck. He's in the fluid aisle, and he grabs the bottle that covers everything. Multi-vehicle, all makes and models, 20% cheaper. Transmission fluid isn't mainly a lubricant, it's a friction fluid. Every shift you feel is a clutch pack grabbing under pressure, and how hard it grabs is engineered into the chemistry. Ford calibrated the shift computer around one friction curve, put something else in there, and that computer is commanding shifts based on numbers that no longer describe reality. The 10R80, the 10-speed in most F-150 ES from 2017 on EOS, takes Mercon ULV, ultra-low viscosity, genuinely thin, and that's how Ford got 10 gears to shift that fast. The 6R80 before it takes Mercon LV, one letter apart on the bottle, completely different fluid. The universal stuff is neither one. A customer brought me a 2016 F-150 6-speed 88,000 miles. Bought a case of universal ATF online at half price. 9 months later, he's in my bay describing a shudder at 45 that feels like rumble strips. Valve body and converter, $2,650. Not a Ford issue, a fluid issue. Mercon ULV runs about $12 a quart. A rebuild runs $3,500 to $6,000. The math is not complicated. Correct habit. 10-speed, Mercon ULV. 6-speed, Mercon LV. And don't let anybody top it off out of a bulk drum without telling you what's in it. Make them say the name. Number 5, the Phantom Overfill. This one makes me want to scream, because the guy who caused it paid to have it done. Your 10-speed has no dipstick. Ford sealed it. You get the truck up, pull a check plug on the pan, and read what comes out. Here's the key part, and it gets skipped constantly. That check is only valid inside a narrow fluid temperature window, roughly 190 to 200 degrees. Not cold, not scalding after an hour of towing, fluid expands as it heats. Check it stone cold, it reads low so somebody tops it off. Then you drive, it warms, it expands, and now you're over full. The rotating parts beat it into foam, and foam is compressible. Hydraulics don't work on compressible fluid. Line pressure goes soft, clutches apply late and slip going in, and everyone burns material off a disc. A 2020 F-150 came in at 38,000 miles, flaring between gears right after a service somewhere else. Pulled the check plug and it came out like a garden hose, nearly a full quart over. Set it right at temperature and the shifts came back. $180. He'd been quoted a rebuild. A proper level check runs $120 to $200. A clutch pack that's been slipping in foam for a year is a teardown. Correct habit. Never let anybody check or fill your transmission cold. If the shop can't tell you what temperature they set it at, they guessed. Number 4, the lifetime lie. Let me be straight with you. Somewhere in the literature for your truck, that fluid gets described in a way that makes owners believe it never needs touching. Fill for life. Lifetime fluid. Here's the part they'd rather stayed buried. Lifetime means until the warranty expires. That's the whole definition, and it has funded a lot of rebuilds. Every shift, the clutch discs give up friction material into that fluid. Every hot cycle, it oxidizes. The additive package gets consumed. It's a budget and you spend it. What starts translucent and red ends up dark and full of clutch material, then gets pumped through a valve body full of passages the width of a pencil lead. A 2017 F-150 came in at 104,000 miles. Original fluid, never touched, because the owner read that word and believed it. It came out nearly black and smelled burnt. Third and fourth slipping under throttle. $4,900. He did what the book told him. That's what makes me angry. Now let me be fair. This isn't me saying Ford builds a bad transmission. The 10R80 is a genuinely good unit, and I've got customers well past 200,000 miles on them. Everyone has one thing in common. They service the fluid. A drain and fill runs $250 to $450. A rebuild runs $3,500 to $6,000. Cheap today, costly later. Correct habit. Drain and fill every 30 to 40,000 miles if you tow, haul, or sit in traffic. Every 50 to 60,000 if you're strictly highway. On a truck that's never been opened, do two a few thousand miles apart instead of one hard flush. Halfway through. If you're still watching, I appreciate you. It means you actually care about your truck instead of driving it till it breaks. Hit that like button. It helps this reach owners about to get quoted for a rebuild they don't need. And before we go on, a lot of what goes wrong on these trucks comes down to missed intervals and not knowing what Ford actually recommends versus what the dealer tells you at the counter. Two very different things. I put together a free maintenance guide for F-150 owners. Fluids, intervals, the whole system. Links in the description. Number 3. The heat clock. Heat kills your transmission. Not miles. Heat. Here's the rule I've worked by for 2 decades. Every 20 degrees above about 175, you cut the useful life of that fluid roughly in half. It's a rule of thumb, but I've watched it hold true lift after lift. Run at 250 pulling a grade in July and you're cooking it. And here's where it gets worse. Your truck has a tool built in to prevent exactly this, and most owners never touch it. Tow haul mode. Folks think tow haul is a power thing. It's a heat thing. It raises shift points, firms up the shifts so clutches grab fast instead of slipping in slow, and it stops the transmission hunting between gears on a grade. Every hunting shift is a slip. Every slip is heat. A guy came to me with a 2019 F-250, 71,000 miles, pulling 9,000 pounds up and down grades every weekend all summer. Never used tow haul. Said he didn't see the point since it pulled fine without it. Fluid came out dark brown and smelled like a campfire. $5,400. The transmission never got a chance. Tow haul cost nothing. It's a button. A rebuild is $3,500 to $6,000. Correct habit. Press it anytime there's weight behind you or in the bed, and on any long descent. Under 210 sustained is where you want to live. 230 and climbing. Back off. Drop a gear. Let it cool. Number 2. The shudder. This one's a warning shot and almost everybody ignores it. You're cruising, light throttle, somewhere between 40 and 60, flat road, and you feel a fine vibration through the floor, like you drove onto grooved pavement for a second. Then it's gone. You look around for the rumble strips. There aren't any. That's torque converter shudder. Inside your converter, there's a lock-up clutch that engages at cruise so the engine and transmission turn together instead of churning fluid, but it doesn't slam on and off. It slips in a controlled way, continuously, and that slip is managed entirely by the friction modifiers in your fluid. When those additives are used up, the clutch stops slipping smoothly and starts grabbing and releasing dozens of times a second. That's the vibration. It's a flag, not a verdict. It's telling you your additive package is finished. Caught early, this is a fluid problem. Ignored for a year, that clutch polishes itself and contaminates everything downstream, and now it's a converter and usually a valve body. Ford has published bulletins on shudder in these units, and a big part of the factory answer has been fluid and calibration, not hardware. A 2018 F-150 35 EcoBoost, 62,000 miles, came in with exactly this. Owner had felt it 8 months and assumed it was road surface. Dealer quoted $4,800 for a rebuild. We did a fluid exchange and one more thing I'll get to in a minute. $390 out the door. Shudder gone. Still gone 2 years later. Fluid exchange $300 to $400. Converter and valve body $2,200 to $3,000. Correct habit. The first time you feel grooved pavement on smooth road, service the fluid. Don't wait, and don't let anybody tell you to live with it. Number 1. Stale data. This is the one I've been building to. It's free and almost nobody knows it exists. Here's what nobody explains when you drive off the lot. Your transmission isn't shifting the way it did when it was new, and that's by design. Every time it shifts, the computer measures how long that shift took against how long it should have. Too slow, it raises the pressure for that shift next time. Too hard, it backs it down. It stores those corrections in a table and keeps them. That's adaptive learning, and it's why a well-maintained 10-speed still shifts beautifully at 150,000 miles. Here's the problem. That table only knows what it learned, and it learned some of it under conditions that don't exist anymore. Fluid that was worn out and is now fresh. A shift that was slow because the level was wrong. A summer of towing with no tow haul. The computer built corrections around all of that and never undoes them on its own. So you fix the real problem, and the truck still shifts badly because it's still correcting for something that's gone. It isn't worn out. It's running on stale data. You can clear that table. It's a transmission adaptive learning reset, a real factory function. Ford built it in. Any decent shop with a capable scan tool does it in a couple of minutes. And if you run 4Scan on a laptop, you can do it in your driveway for the price of the cable. And to be clear, pulling your battery cable does not do this. That's the myth I hear most. Those values don't live where a disconnect can reach them. After the reset, the table is blank and the truck has to relearn. So you drive it. Light to moderate throttle, up and down through every gear, some stop and go, some steady cruise, 20 to 30 minutes. And here's the honest catch. It will shift worse before it shifts better. The first few miles feel firm while it collects new data. That's normal. Don't panic and don't drive it like you stole it to speed it up. That 2018 F-150 I mentioned, fluid exchange plus this reset was the whole repair. $390 against a $4,800 quote. And here's the second catch, because I won't hand you a diagnosis I can't back up. This will not fix a mechanically damaged transmission. Hard flares, slipping under load, metal in the pan, no reset brings that back. It fixes shift quality, not broken parts. A reset at a shop runs $100 to $150. A 4Scan cable is $30, and you own it forever. A rebuild is $3,500 to $6,000. You just learned what a lot of people pay a diagnostic fee to find out. Correct habit. Anytime you change the fluid, correct the level, or fix an underlying problem, reset the adaptive table afterward and drive the relearn. Fixing the hardware and leaving the old corrections in place is half a job. Result: a transmission calibrating itself around the truck you have today, not the one you had 2 years ago. Look, here's the truth about these trucks. Ford transmissions don't die from mileage. They die from heat and stale fluid. I've had F-150s on my lift with 220,000 miles on the original transmission shifting clean. And I've had them come in at 90,000 needing a rebuild. Same transmission, same factory. The difference was never the hardware. So, run it back. Right fluid, checked at the right temperature, serviced on a real interval, tow haul anytime there's weight, act on the shudder the first time you feel it, and reset the adaptive table. 5 of those 6 cost you almost nothing. And don't forget, there's a free maintenance checklist for your Ford waiting in the description. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment with your F-150 year, your engine, and your mileage. If you've done the adaptive reset, tell me what it felt like after. I read every comment. Next week, the 7 habits quietly destroying your EcoBoost turbos, and one of them is something almost every owner does in a parking lot without thinking twice. Take care of your Ford, and it'll take care of you. I'll see you in the next one.